Hello my fellow book addicts, Megan here, and time for another book review. Today I'm going to be talking about Scythe by Neal Shusterman, and this is book 1 in the Arc of the Scythe series. So, I'm kicking myself for taking so long to get to this book, cause it was good. This book takes place in our future, and humanity has conquered many of the things that we suffer in our day and age. There's no war, there's no world hunger, there's no disease. Humanity has even conquered death. So naturally, if there's no death, the population could boom. There is a group of people set to kind of help maintain the size of the population, and they are called Scythes, and they are the only ones who can kill. Basically, if you suffer an accident, if you accidentally get hit by a car, or you fall off a building or something, you can be brought back, no matter the damage done to your body. Unless you're burned to death, then that's a whole nother story. But most other forms of death, you can come back from. You can be revived from. And once you reach an age that you no longer want to be, you can even turn a corner and become younger again. Which, imagine a world where your grandparent could literally be your age. They could literally be a young adult again. That is kind of creepy. But in this world, this future, it is a possibility. But if you're killed by a scythe, there's no coming back. You're gone. You're gonzo. And each scythe kind of has their own style of killing, but get into that a bit later. And also the Scythes don't call it killing, because that is a pretty ugly word. They refer to it as gleaning. Words, I can manage them, I swear. So in this book, we follow two young teenagers, Citra and Rowan, who have been taken on as apprentices, Scythe apprentices, by High Scythe Faraday. Basically, the two of them acted in such a way that drew his attention, making him think that they would become good scythes. So this book mostly focuses on their training, and naturally there's some twists along the way. There's also, just throwing it out there, no specific world government. There's no specific governments for each region. They're ruled by this AI program known as the Thunderhead. And just, the Thunderhead sounds wild. And just, it's an interesting concept. I don't even know how to begin to describe the Thunderhead, so I'm just gonna not try, because I don't think I can accurately, explain it. But yeah, this is a really interesting premise. World peace is a thing. Everyone seems content with everything. The whole concept of scythes seems like an interesting idea, and in a perfect world, it sounds like it would be the perfect solution for population control. Scythes aren't supposed to show any bias or bigotry in their gleaming choices. Just there are certain rules to being a scythe that they're supposed to follow, and if you don't follow those rules, there are consequences. So naturally, it seems like the perfect solution, but of course, nothing can be perfect. It's an interesting system, and it's something that I look very forward to learning more about in the upcoming books. So I don't feel there's too much more I can say without giving spoilers, so if you have not read Scythe yet and you have any intention of doing so, highly suggest you click away now and come back after you catch up, because it is amazing. This is a book that is definitely worth the read. Alright. I didn't want to talk about too much about the characters in my non-spoiler bit, because I was afraid I would let something slip, but I went into this not knowing that Citra and Rowan were going to be put up against each other. Or if I knew about it, I have this book on my shelf for a year and a half, 2 years now. So, if I did know about that when I first bought this book, I completely forgot about it. So, the concept of Citra and Rowan needing to duke it out for who would get the Scythe ring, not only that, but needing to gleam whoever loses, it's wow. That is a terrifying and, though, very good motivator for this. I gotta say, I like the way they kind of got around that. I thought it was clever. I was worried for a moment that Citra was gonna glean Rowan. And just, my heart went out for Rowan, especially in this. Just, oh my goodness. Spending all that time with Goddard and just going through all the stuff that he was forcing him through, and just like, how did this poor kid keep his sanity? And it made me so happy when he did, take him out and his cronies out. Just, holy heck. I was on the edge of my seat as I was reading that whole chapter. It's just like, oh my god, what's he gonna do? What's gonna happen? It feels like it's been a while since I've been on that much of an edge reading something. And oh god, Scythe Faraday, I adored. I loved him. And I was so glad to learn that he was not dead. Honestly, when I learned that Goddard wanted to take Citra and Rowan as apprentices to finish up their training after he died, I did think that he murdered Scythe Faraday. I did fear that was what would happen. I was genuinely surprised when I found out that no, he was just as surprised at his death and had nothing to do with it. That Faraday faked his own self-gleaming to try and get Citra and Rowan out of needing to apprentice each other to death, for lack of better words. But yeah, I was very happy to learn that Faraday was alive, because he's just great. I know he kills people for a living, but just the way he chooses his victims, I feel is ideally the most fair way, and just how he does what he does. Just, I feel like his method, as well as Scythe Curry, her method is pretty, I'm trying to think of the best word, merciful, I guess? But just, if all sides were like those two, I feel like this system would be able to run smoothly. If you didn't get people like Goddard about mass gleaming anyone and just the joy he and they got out of it. Faraday and Curry, they don't enjoy what they gotta do. It's part of their job. It's what needs to be done. And they're, for lack of better words, very human about it. Like, Faraday is pretty random about his gleamings and does research into them and tries to make them like statistics. He tries to pick methods that won't cause anyone unnecessary suffering. And even when he knows when to bend the rules, like when one of his victims chose to fight back, and their rule about if anyone fights back you have to kill their whole family, and how he kind of turned a blind eye towards that. Same with Scythe Curry, even though her methods are a little more brutal, but at the same time they are pretty straightforward, and they are more random. They're random beyond all belief, they're sudden. She is trying to simulate death like Faraway did, just in a more violent way. Though she didn't draw out anyone's suffering either. She made it quick enough so that people had no idea what was going on. And just the closure she gave families was fantastic. Inviting them over, having them tell about the family member that she killed, offering them food, and then taking revenge if they see fit. Just, I don't know, if every Scythe had methods like theirs, like I said, the system could go perfectly. But then he got crazies like Goddard who are just like, no, we want to kill as much as we want, whatever we want, because Scythes have a quota to fill, which is, understandable. Population grows at a steady rate usually, and in order to keep the whole planet from just being overwhelmed, they gotta keep the population at a certain point, so naturally each Scythe is gonna have a certain amount of killings they gotta do each quarter, for lack of better words. But just the sides like Goddard, who are like, no, we want to do whatever we want, whenever we want, we don't want any of these limits, and just things holding us back. It's like, their thinking was terrifying. And these are just like the vocal ones. I am interested to see where things lead. Citra is now a Scythe. She is Scythe Anastasia, and I just love her reasoning for picking the name Anastasia. Just very awesome, and I'm looking forward to seeing the change she tries to make and Scythedom from within, as well as seeing what Rowan is gonna do now that he's basically on the run. And I hope we see more Faraday in the future books, because he's just amazing. Faraday makes me happy. He's a good guy, and it's a shame that he's supposed to be playing dead. But yeah, interesting what Rowan's gonna be up to now that he is supposed to be in hiding and on the run. Because up until his immunity is up, he's gonna be a pretty big target, I am assuming. And just so excited to see everything. I'm just so excited to see what changes and what happens from this point of view now that Goddard and his immediate followers are out of the picture. I'm assuming there are other sides out there who think as he did, and is someone gonna basically try and take Goddard's place? Yeah, I'm just really excited to see where things lead. And yeah, I feel so bad because I can't think of anything else to say about this amazing book. But yeah, just the whole concept was intriguing. How it was written was fantastic. I loved the journal entries from various sides at the beginning of each chapter. I found those really interesting. And they also provided a nice little deeper dive into how everyone thinks and how the world works, and it's just endlessly fascinating. Another thing I also liked was, just remind myself of it, how since humans can potentially live forever now, unless they are gleamed, people have the potential to live for hundreds, if not thousands, of years. Just the whole concept of people becoming stagnant in life. Because it's like, if you have endless years ahead of you, what is there to motivate you? What is there to motivate you? Inspire art and music and other various forms of self-expression. Like, what is there to motivate you when you have endless years down the line? Like, what is there to drive you? I found that interesting how death kind of ties into what drives us as living creatures. And how if you take death and just everyday suffering out of the picture, how that affects humanity as a whole. I found that really interesting. And yeah, now with that said, I honestly can't think of anything else to add. So yeah, what everyone else think? Are there things that I didn't talk about that you want to bring up, that you liked that I didn't mention, that you didn't like that I didn't or did mention? Let's get a discussion going, and yeah. That is it for this video, and I hope to see you guys next time.